A couple of years ago, I did a whole video of 10 TV shows I watched as a kid, but less. At the end of the video, I said I was going to do one for movies at some point, but yes, I am finally going to do top 10 movies I watched as a kid, but less video. Now, I said this before that this one would be more interesting and worth talking about than TV shows. And the only rule in this video is it has to be movies that came out between when I was little and up until 2005. Unfortunately, I won't be including 2006 ones because I'm saving that for a future video. I do have one movie on the list that's not a family film, but it was one I watched in theaters a long time ago. But these are movies I did watch, but didn't have a big impact during my childhood life. These movies on the list will range from good to bad, but these lists will only include the ones I didn't watch much. Also, this list is from the 90s or 2000s. If you saw them or you never heard of them before, then comment down below. Though, when we get to number 1, I don't think anyone's going to take a wild guess what mine is. With that out of the way, let's get started with top 10 movies I have watched, but less. Number 10. Spirit, Stallion of the Cimarron. This is the only DreamWorks animated film on this list, so if you might be wondering, why didn't you watch this movie more as a kid? Well, the most obvious reason why I didn't watch it much, because it's Western. And if you know me, I seriously do not like Western. In fact, it's my least favorite genre. I watched this movie about once or twice as a kid, and that was really about it. I didn't have a strong connection with this movie. And this is weird because Shrek, another DreamWorks movie, had a strong connection to me as a kid. This was one I watched the least. My introduction to this movie was the preview on the Shrek VHS, and yeah, it did look cool. The preview reminded me of Disney's Dinosaurs, another one that had cool camera shots and landscapes. In fact, this preview on the Shrek VHS and another preview on the Big Fat Liar VHS were the only ones I remember more than the actual movie. Before doing the video, I finally sat down and watched it after not seeing it in 20 plus years, and yeah, it was pretty good. Not great. Other than the Western aspect, which I'm not a fan of, there's some I like about the movie. Like that the animals don't talk in the movie, which as a kid I would hate, but as an adult, it's actually good because it's mainly told through the horse's expression, which I give credit where credit is due. Matt Damon only narrates throughout the movie. I actually like the soundtrack in the movie, which I know it's 80s style vibes, but they actually sound quite good, and it doesn't distract me. But yeah, after not seeing it for a long time, the movie was a good watch. In fact, out of all the 10 movies on this list, this was the good one out of the bunch. It may not be one of DreamWorks' best, but it is a good one to do. Funnily enough, the movie launched a media franchise with a spin-off TV series, Spirit Riding Free, exclusive to Netflix, followed by a spin-off film, Spirit Untamed. I was not expecting this franchise to live, but hey, Spirit was good watching it for a long time, but the movie deserves one of them to be less I didn't watch as a kid. Number 9. The Powerpuff Girls movie. Yeah, I'm sure people in the comments will say, ooh, Jordan watched the Powerpuff Girls for that target audience. Okay, let me explain. I did watch a little bit of the Powerpuff Girls, and yeah, it's a good show, but can't say I'm a diehard fan. I like Tom Kenny narrating the show, I like the superhero aspect of it, and I like the design of the villains, especially Mojo Dojo. And no joke, on the Scooby-Doo VHS I had, they did have a bonus episode of the Powerpuff Girls, which at least that was good for Cartoon Network to do that. I didn't see the Powerpuff Girls movie in theaters, instead I got it on DVD. Yeah, I got it on DVD at a grocery store in my hometown before it closed down. It was one of those you can buy it and you don't have to take it back, and this was one of them. Yeah, please don't ask why. I watched this movie a little bit of times as a kid, and it's okay at best. Yeah, nobody really talks about this movie because it didn't do good at the box office. Well, the movie was coming out the same time as Lilo and Stitch, Hey Arnold the movie, the live action Scooby-Doo, plus 2 opening day competitions with Men in Black 2 and Like Mike. Yeah, it came out in summer 2002. Not only that, but the creators said that the franchise was more female-oriented product, in which I get that. But besides the box office bomb and the critical reception, I still think the movie is okay for what it was. The movie was trying to take itself too seriously, but it needed a more complex story with twists and emotions. It's more of an extended episode. Didn't watch much as a kid, but it's okay with everything nice. Number 8. The Day After Tomorrow. This is the only film on the list that's not a family film, and I did actually watch this movie in theaters as a kid. Yeah, at age 9. Unlike Spirit or Powerpuff Girls movie where I did own it on home media, The Day After Tomorrow I never bought it on VHS nor DVD. In fact, this was the first disaster movie I ever saw. Not Twister or Independence Day or Deep Impact or Armageddon. It was this one. Okay, like Spirit, I had to watch this film because I haven't seen it in a long time. So I sat down again, and I'm not gonna lie, this movie is pretty dull. Yeah, this might come to no one's shock that I'm not a fan of disaster movies. In fact, the director of this movie also directed these movies, which he's widely known for disaster films. But the movie is around 2 hours. Like, man, if I watched it in theaters back then, I could not follow this movie at all. Even as an adult, it was boring to sit through. But yeah, my parents took me to see this movie in theaters and not remembering it. That's pretty upset if you ask me. Like I said, the rest of the movie is not all bad. There's some I like about it, like the visuals and I like some characters. But the effects, the characters, even the dialogue are so clunky in my opinion. This is a movie where I don't think I'll ever be watching it again in the future. Clearly not for me, but deserves on the list for not watching it very much back then. Number 7. Fat Albert. Yeah, this movie I did watch as a kid, but again, this one I did not get on DVD. The only memory I remember was seeing the TV ads and watching it at my mom's friend's house, and that was it. Truly, I could have put this higher around number 1. Well, I can't go that far. I watched it last month when it was free on YouTube, and yeah, it's not good. For those that don't know what Fat Albert is, it's based on the 1972 animated TV series called Fat Albert and the Cosby Kids, which I didn't know was based on a show. And funnily enough, the same year when Fat Albert movie came out, Fairly Odd Parents had a TV movie called Channel Chasers, and one of the shows did parody Fat Albert and the Kids. Which, honestly, that segment, while short, was a far better parody than anything in the live-action movie. But yeah, Fat Albert was not good. I don't think it's one of the worst family films list, but it's a bunch of nothing. I do feel bad for Kenan Thompson because I love the guy and his role fits him quite good, but he doesn't give a good comedic delivery, nor his writing delivery. Yeah, go watch SNL. His role is so funny in that show. The rest of the gang are fine, I guess, but still, the rest didn't grab me much. Yes, it does have Bill Cosby in the movie, which I do cringe because you already know what happened after the movie. But besides not being good, the movie deserves on the list for not watching it much. It came out in Christmas 2004, and it didn't make it to DVD until 2005, during the tail end of my childhood. But I am including it on the list. Not worth at number 1, but not a big impression in my life. Number 6. Good Boy. Yeah, this is a weird movie I watched as a kid. And yes, I did get the movie on DVD back long time ago. Why did I get it, you may ask? Well, I thought the concept was almost interesting. In the movie, these dogs come from outer space and they actually talk. So I watched the movie about twice as a kid. Then I had to rewatch it when it was free on YouTube years ago, and honestly, I hardly know this movie much. I remember being advertised on TV a few times, and yeah, I am a dog lover, but this movie I barely watched when I was getting older, and it's easily forgettable. The special effects are not good when it comes to the other animal mouth moving, and it's been done before multiple times. Other than the special effects, the dog characters are not memorable. The voice cast is weird, since I like some of them, but it looks like Matthew Broderick is phoning in, voicing the dog. Also, recognize this main boy? Yeah, that's the same one that played Klaus from A Series of Unfortunate Events, in which I loved him playing that role, but playing the main boy is not very believable. I feel bad for the role he played, but that was past time. I could have easily put this in movies that don't hold up, but I wanted to put it for one that I barely watched as a kid. Also, I'm surprised that there hasn't been a Nostalgia Critic review of the movie since it has Matthew Broderick. Maybe one day. But yeah, didn't watch it much as a kid, but not one of the good ones of family films. Number 5. Racing Stripes. Yeah, another weird movie I watched as a kid. While it did came out before my downfall, this movie is pretty bad. Other than being bad, I've only watched this movie like once during my childhood, and that was it. I rented it at a grocery store in summer 2005, and then I took it back. Yeah, it's one of the more easy to forget. The concept, again, is not bad, with a zebra wanting to be in a horse race, in which zebras kinda look like horses. Other than the concept, the movie is bad, predictable, and easy to forget. I could have easily put higher, but again, there's lists that are far more interesting than this. Like I said, I've only watched it once during my childhood and never got it on DVD. Then as an adult, I had to rewatch it in less than 20 years, and yeah, it's still bad as I remember. Plus, this movie has like a wide variety of cast. Not as strange as Good Boy, but it's close. This has to be one of the worst movies from Frankie Muniz. It's a toss-up between this and the second Agent Cody Banks movie. Oh, don't worry, I have a special video coming very soon. Like, this is one of the downfalls because this was when Malcolm in the Middle show was almost ending a year after this came out. But yeah, this is another movie that's one of the worst ones. Not on the same level as like Cat in a Hat or Cheaper by a Dozen 2. This one is too predictable. I don't like the characters, I don't like the jokes, and I don't like the plot either. It was fine to rewatch it for such a long time, but I could have easily skipped it. This is another movie I hope Nostalgia Critic does a review of it one day. Pretty forgettable and deserves it in the top 5 spot that I watched less. Number 4. Snow Day. Okay, not as bad as the last one, but this one I didn't watch much, and I should have. Why? Because it had an interesting premise. Just following what kids do on a snow day could be really fun. Though I mentioned before in one of my videos that I don't get snow in California because I live far away from the mountains. Anyways, my introduction to this movie was when either my mom or my brother recorded on pay-per-view. Yeah, remember those back in the early 2000s? And it was recorded on VHS. The problem, however, is that VHS didn't stay that long. Over time, I couldn't find the movie on TV anywhere during the years, and I have an interesting history with this movie. Besides the VHS recording on pay-per-view, I wanted to buy the movie on DVD because, at the time, my brother got one. So the one place I wanted to get the movie on DVD was Borders. Yeah, good old Borders. Now, did I find the movie on DVD? Well, no. I sadly did not find it. So, what did I get instead of this movie? Yeah, SpongeBob. Because at the time, when I was watching the show, I got that. Which, that was good to get it, I guess. But I was disappointed not finding the Snow Day movie. However, Paramount re-released the DVD back in 2017. Like, are you serious? You could have waited to get it back in the mid to late 2000s, or waited to put it on digital download, but I digress. Also, this movie is not free on any service, so I had to watch it digital while paying. Now, how was the movie after all these years? It's average, but it's not terrible. I can understand why the film doesn't work as a whole, even though it has a pretty good cast like Chevy Chase and Chris Elliott. I remember liking it fine as a kid, but it got a little worse as an adult. I can clearly see why I didn't watch this movie a lot as a kid. Also, there's a musical remake that came out in 2022 on Paramount Plus. Like, how did that get a remake and some people not knowing that there was the original movie?
What's wrong with you?
The only thing I liked from the movie as a kid is the song Another Dumb Blonde by Hoku. Not gonna lie, that song is catchy and does get in my head sometimes. But yeah, Snow Day deserves on the list. Forgettable, yes, but I like it more than the not good flicks than the others. Number 3. Osmosis Jones. Remember when I talked about Inside Out that there was a film that did remind me of the movie? This was the film I was referring to. Before Inside Out, there was Osmosis Jones. And I will admit, I do like the concept of a world inside a human's body. Sounds pretty gross, but again, this was trying to be Inside Out. But the execution was pretty poor. Before I get to the bad, first I'll start with the good. There are some clever ideas, the designs are great, the environment is pretty cool, some puns are kind of clever, and the animation is great. But there are some bad moments in it. I don't like the story of a buddy cop routine with Ozzy and Drix, the live action stuff is very awkward, and the humor is not funny. And I can't believe I'm saying this because I love Bill Murray, but his role is downright horrible before you know what. And of course, there's gross out humor like farting, sneezing, and vomiting. Yeah, I cringe so much. Anyways, why is this on number 3 for a movie I watched less? Well, I got it on VHS in Christmas 2001. I watched it and yeah, I remember liking it. But much like Snow Day, Spirit, and the others, I didn't watch much. And then the VHS of the movie broke. Yeah, after that, I didn't buy it on DVD. There was a show based on the movie called Ozzy and Drix that aired on Kids WB, but I didn't watch the show. But thanks to YouTube for being free, you can still find it on there, and yeah, my opinions do change. But it's not a good flick. I admire this film a lot more for its creativity, but in terms of the other category, it falls pretty ill. Not the worst, but definitely one I watched the least as a kid. Number 2. Barney's Great Adventure. Yeah, it may not come to a shock that I did watch Barney as a kid, as I mentioned before in the PBS Kids video. I liked Barney as a kid, but over time got worse. I mean, there's far worse shows. I was more of a Sesame Street and Thomas the Tank Engine. Sesame Street did have a couple of theatrical films, though I didn't watch Elmo and Grouchland as a kid. What? And Thomas did have one theatrical movie, which I'll save that for a future video. But yeah, I couldn't leave Barney's only film on the list, not including the direct-to-VHS. Though, I was the perfect age to watch this movie. I was 3 years old when the movie came out, so I watched on TV instead of owning it on VHS. I liked it fine, but after I say around 15 years, I decided to watch on YouTube that wasn't free at the time. Nostalgic, yes, but an overall flick, no, it's not good. It's not one of the worst ones, but at least I wanted to get the nostalgia movie off the list someday. I still think it deserves number 2 for being less memorable, but at least some people remember Barney the Dinosaur. Don't think I'll ever rewatch it in the future. Now, with all the films listed, there is one movie that I had in mind to be the one that I less forget about as a kid. What is it? Well, here it is. The number 1 movie that I watched as a kid, but less, is Gordy. Yeah, I don't think anyone has never heard this movie before, but it is a theatrical movie and not one of those cheap knockoff Hallmark movies. Before people comment to me, let me explain. Gordy came out in 1995, the same year I was born, though Arizona premiered the movie in 94, but I'm counting worldwide release. And no joke, my brother had it on VHS. And keep in mind, I was a baby at the time. So when I was a toddler, the movie was on from time to time, but by the time I was around 5 or 6 years old, it started to forget what the movie was about other than the pig being famous. Like, why did my brother bought it? During the years, I totally didn't understand if the movie was big or not other than nostalgia. Unfortunately, my brother didn't have the movie on VHS anymore and sold it. And to be honest, I don't remember any scenes from the movie with the exception of one. The only scene I remembered is when the boy falls into the pool and the pig saves him. That's it. But I wouldn't give up. I kept on searching. So when I would visit thrift stores and swap meets during those times, I'd see it on VHS multiple times, and I say to my brother, I found it. The movie you had that I don't remember. And that was it. It wasn't until YouTube discovered years later. In 2009, there was a preview of Gordy, and it finally clicked with me. After seeing a few scenes and that boy falling in a pool scene, I said, that's the one. I'm starting to refresh my memories back. Then came a YouTube video of the Gordy VHS previews. Then my wish was granted. On March 18th, 2011, during my 16th birthday, I finally found Gordy on Star's channel, and in no time, I was ready to record it on DVR. And after watching the full movie after a long time, it felt I was remembering it more now than I did when I was very little. Then 2 months later, there would be a Nostalgia Critic review of Gordy, in which that was also good timing, I guess. I still have memories with that movie now as a 30-year-old man than just forgetting it. And the reason why I put it number 1 instead of number 5 or 6 is because Gordy came out very late past my time. It's very similar to that show Wishbone I talked about in the top 10 TV shows video. I said that Wishbone was the show I don't remember anything watching and it ended too quickly. That is similar to Gordy in a way. And out of these two media, I think I'd rather pick Gordy over Wishbone. Well, I did forget Gordy a lot as a kid during the years, but I searched more when I got a little older. Wishbone, I didn't search much other than the catchy theme song. Okay, besides forgetting, what do I think of the movie? I mean, it's not a good movie, but I get why this movie wasn't huge. Gordy was eclipsed by another pig movie that came out the same year, and that was Babe. Babe was another film about a talking pig who becomes famous while avoiding being slaughtered for food. Though Gordy actually came out first before Babe. Maybe my guess was that the movie was trying to be Charlotte's Web, I guess. I don't think the ripoff bothers me, as some people would say. The movie as a whole is not good. I get the whole little pig finding his own family and saving them, but it's not the best story. They talk about the economy in the movie, in which I don't think kids would be able to follow. And yeah, it can be awkward at times. Okay, the only positive about the movie is the song Pig Power Pike Tag Team. Again, it is just so catchy. When I heard it back in 2011, I was almost addicted to this song. It's kind of a guilty pleasure of mine. But yeah, I'm sure people are going to be surprised that I put a 90s movie that nobody has ever heard of, even though there has been 90s family films that forget over time, and Gordy is one of them. Though it's been released multiple times via home media. But yeah, I think Gordy deserves to be the number 1 movie I have watched as a kid, but less. Man, that was a long video to say about those films. The 10 films I watched as a kid, but less. But I got more top 10 film lists to work on in the future. I'm thinking about doing some movies I watched as a kid that don't hold up. We'll see if I can do that video. That is all for the top 10 list video. Let me know which movies you didn't watch much as a kid, and let me know if you're surprised by my list, especially the Gordy one, because I don't think anyone will take a guess. But I want to get almost every 90s and 2000s childhood films to do a video. Hope you all have a good day, and I will see you all in the next video. Bye bye!